Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Less Known Classics. This episode number 1907, Doubleshot number 1801. Got some Green Arrow stuff to talk about, so let's talk about it. First up, we have the last show we're talking about for Green Arrow and Black Canary. I say last trade because the very next volume, which is called 5 Stages, couldn't get my hands on it, so I'm just going to review the last 3 issues of the trade anyways, because 30 I've already reviewed anyways. So I'll review that in a bit. This book contains issues 21 to 26 of Green Arrow and Black Canary. We're also getting very close with this one, and of course next issue, we're pretty much wrapping up Andrew Kreisberg's run for the book. Which here's the thing is, we're almost only 15 issues, and then the last few issues of this book, along with the relaunch Green Arrow book, is all done by J.T. Kroll. And heck, even after the second relaunch comes afterwards, also by J.T. Kroll too, so he's in this book for like over a year. Alright, first up, basically, now we get more stuff in here of Green Arrow with Cupid. Yes. Also, with issue 22, the book becomes a split book for some reason. One story is focused on Green Arrow, and the second story is focused on the Black Canary. Yeah, this was Marriage on the Rocks, so become a split book now. Not sure why, so that's basically what it is. So, we have this. First, we have the story happening with Wildcat and Black Canary. Dealing with this guy. I think it's like Discord, I think it is. Yeah, then 22. This is basically, again, the backup feature. Where we have Green Arrow hanging around with Cupid. Because, well, the marriage is basically getting a rust patch. We have a bit of a flashback here of Dinah, who was a kid with Wildcat, more take on Discord here. And then we cut straight to Green Arrow with Cupid. Yes, basically Green Arrow hangs out with Cupid a lot of these stories. Also, the artwork has changed. Yes, the backup stories artwork is not done by Mike Norton. Nope. The backup story, I believe, is done by Bill Sienkiewicz. Yep, it's yeah, he's the one who does his artwork. Yeah, his is more of an older art style. Like, here's him basically draws Cupid. Yeah, it's a bit more of a slightly older art style, a little more shading here. It's fine. I have no problem with this guy's artwork. So, basically with this one, it's kind of like trying to have a domestic thing with this one. That's simply what the story is. And then the first story is basically all about Green. Of course, they swap back and forth for these split book stuff. Like, first story, sometimes usually Green Arrow, the other times it's Black Canary. Whereas in issue second one of Big Game, yeah, this actually is his son. Yes, his son. Now, the original was killed off in issue 18. Excuse me, they say he was a Green Arrow villain, but ain't enough our Green Arrow part of this one. And it's weird, though, that Cupid killed off 3 Green Arrow villains, all 3 of whom have not been seen since the 1980s. Yeah. It's like Kreisberg brought him back just to kill him off. Yep. Yeah, then we have more stuff in here with the split book stuff. And then we have Mia comes back with this brand new costume. Fun fact, this is the costume she has up into the Flashpoint reboot. So she has this costume for 2 years. Currently, she has made 1 appearance part of it after this one. Yep. So, we have it where this guy, who thinks he's Green Arrow, winds up in an alley. Yeah, and it turns out this actually is not Green Arrow. Yeah, they find this out later, yeah. The thing is, this other Green Arrow is the Everyman. Yep. More stuff in here, but this book is really going to enjoy this. Now, moving on to issues 27 to 29. The final issues of Andrew Kreisberg's run for this book. Yep. Now, pretty much this other Green Arrow that basically popped up at Black Canary's apartment is actually not Oliver Queen. It is actually Everyman. As in this, and of course, him in his Oliver Queen form, first time since the opening story arc. It's like Kreisberg brought this back as because Maybe the book was ending and he wanted to have where the book was going to relaunch, maybe? I'm not sure. So the last 3 issues continues the whole split book aspect for a while. Yeah, and of course, it's called 5 Stages. Yep. Now, like I said, this book covers issue 26. So, we're just discussing just the last 3 issues left to cover. Because, well, there is no reason to cover... Well, how should I put this? There's no reason to cover the last 3 issues of this book. Because I have technically reviewed these issues already. Well, there is a good reason for that. And the reason is, well, Rise of Black Lantern Corps and Rise and Fall covered the last couple issues. So basically, this Emerald All-Over Queen starts hanging out with Cupid. And this is like this throughout the remaining issues of this book. So Aaron tries to kill Cupid. And then we have a backup feature which has nothing to do with Black Canary. It's basically files of Cobalt. That's what this is. It's just a random backup feature that Kreisberg has thrown in here. Yeah, and then somehow it gets involved with Green Arrow and Black Canary. And then, of course, basically, this is kind of how it is for the remaining issues of this run. We have this Cobalt backup feature, and it's like this for the last 3 issues of this book. And by on the cover, it's known as Green Arrow versus Black Canary, despite the fact that they kind of reconciled. Yeah, for some reasons like that. Plus, I love I really do enjoy the Black Canary suit. So, battling Cupid, the Airman copy, and this is kind of basically what they do for the last few issues of this book. Just do that. Then we have the Tuskegee Origins, which mostly about Cobalt. Yeah, it's mostly a little bit of exploration of Cupid's backstory. Yep, and then we have the final issue of Kreisberg's run. Issue 29. He says a full 30-page adventure. You probably think, oh, 30 was the 21.9 was the last issue. Well, it was the last issue when it was a regular book. Yes. Yeah, and then they do an autopsy on the guy who apparently, like, Cupid killed. It's all about the whole point of the issue. Just wrap up the whole Cupid storyline. Yep. So, yeah, they kind of like capture her by the end of this issue, and then she's not seen again for quite some time after this. Yep. After she's captured, they have Green Arrow beam off to someplace, possibly to the events of Blackest Night, possibly. Yep. Though they released issue 30 the very same month for some strange reason. Yeah, I have no idea why. And also the cover itself, they made a homage to, I think it was Green Lantern, Volume 2, number 76, where they had it where on the cover they had Green Arrow destroying the Green Lantern battery. In the reverse, they had, for some reason, they had Hal Jordan breaking, like, the Mantis Empire when Green Arrow was there. I thought it was kind of hilarious. Yep. My final thoughts on the Andrew Kreisberg run for this book, and this book overall. This actually was a pretty good run. I mean, I enjoyed the character Cupid. I think she was interesting. I wasn't a big fan of her, but rereading these issues, I'm like, wow, she's quite interesting of a character, so I think she's kind of insane. But here's the thing. After this one wraps up, she's not seen again for, get this, guess how long we had to wait until she made her return? We had to wait 4 years for her to return. 4 years in their continuity. Yes, Kreisberg brought the character back for his last 2 issues of his very brief story he had for Green Arrow, known as The Kingdom, which also brought in Mia Dearden, who was not one of his creations. That was a creation of Kevin Smith. Yep. Excuse me. Also, it seems that though during his run, he basically kind of wrote Connor out of the series just to focus on stuff with Cupid, and maybe he was not really a big fan of the Green Arrow Black Canary marriage, So he basically had sort of falling apart because of Cupid. And then eventually became a split book. Maybe that was his idea or some editor's idea. Or that, or maybe the book wasn't selling too well. But the book managed to continue on even after he basically left. Very briefly. Because with the very next issue, after issue this, issue 29, next 3 issues, all J.T. Crow. First one was known as Green Arrow and Black Canary, and the last 2 issues simply known as Green Arrow. And then relaunch number 1, and basically we have a 11-issue run by J.T. Crow, which is a very interesting run, that you read it and you're like, wow, there was still more stories told here. Restart the continuity, and then we have the weirdness that was from 2011 to 2019. The era of Green Arrow where the editors could not keep the book continuity straight. Yes, this is probably the reason why they probably had to cancel it, because people were so confused. It felt as though any time a new writer came on board, all those characters they kept, all the previous work, were like ignored. It didn't feel like a transition at all. It felt like basically a restart every time a new writer came on board. The only time this did not happen was when Andrew Kreisberg came on the book. When he came on the book, it felt like a continuation of Jeff Mears' run. It's the only time. And then Percy go over the book, and then pretty much like all those cool characters, Mia and Red Arrow, drop for the book. I think Red Arrow popped up a couple times basically in that book. That was Green Arrow's sister, by the way. And then the restart happened. It felt like all that stuff you had, that really mixed and okay stuff. And then you had some really good stuff by him for 38 straight issues, which was really good. And then apparently, like, we still can't keep the book straight. Like, every writer has to do their own thing with Green Arrow. It's almost like half the time you read the book, it feels like an anthology book. Where it felt as though we keep up these cool characters, but every time we switch writers, we have to hit the restart button on everything, and all their stories are completely non-canon thanks to our new writer's run. And in my opinion, this is what probably killed the Green Arrow book. Yes, so aside from that, with this reviewing this particular series, I reviewed History for Green Arrow as far back as 2008 to 2019. Yep, so you're probably thinking, is there more Green Arrow trades to review? Yes, there is. There's a good like dozen of them to left to review. Yep, but next Comic Corner probably may have a Green Arrow video, Green Arrow trade, but next thing I'm going to do, more Super Sentai. Yep, I have 3 episodes left to go. I'm going to cap it off time. When the anime we'll talk about, which I'll discuss that in the next video. Okay? Bye.